Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you today? Are you excited?
Yes.
Give God to love, all love, and we can give praise to God today.
Yes.
All right, let's start it. Sing a song, a holy song. Number 1, Blessing of Glory. Number 1, Blessing of Glory.
Now the light of glory arises like the sun that shines on high. Now awaken into freedom, oh revive your spirits, oh revive. Wake the mountains and the valleys, bring alive the springs of the earth. Light the world forever with the light of your rebirth. Light the world forever with the light of your rebirth. We are called to bring back the glory to the life of God above. Now the Lord fills the universe with tender love, and seeking souls awaken, ever calling them to be free. How shall I attend who is calling to me? How shall I attend him who is calling to me? From the dark of death I awaken and rejoice to live in grace. When the one who came to save me holds me tenderly in his embrace, I rejoice to feel the comfort of the love he has for me. What a blessing of glory to rejoice eternally. What a blessing of glory to rejoice eternally. Now he lifts me up to embrace me in the blessing that is mine. What a blessing to receive him in a love so tender and divine. How can I return a blessing, though in all my life I will try? I can never stop feeling how unworthy am I. I can never stop feeling how unworthy am I.
Next song is 29, Shining Fatherland. 29, Shining Fatherland.
Sunlight beaming forth in the east from the fatherland, bringing tidings of a new world to families in the field. Let us hasten to send the news all throughout the world. Eden's glory spreading forever, the hope of joy and peace. Dawn, golden dawn throughout the shining fatherland, tells the tidings of the rising sun. fields hasten to harvest now. Crops are ripened and ready to bring into the heavenly barn. Saints and angels and heavenly hosts gather to see the task. All will share a harvest of joy at the banquet of our Lord. Dawn, golden dawn throughout the shining fatherland tells the tidings of the rising sun that brings us life. When the woes of 6,000 years are gone from the Father's heart, sons and daughters shall live with great joy, our true parents' home. Saints and sages and men of good fame all waited for this day. Loyal men of hope and fidelity yearn to see this day. Dawn, golden dawn throughout the shining fatherland tells the tidings of the rising sun that brings us life. Dawn, golden dawn throughout the shining fatherland tells the tidings of the rising sun that brings us life.
Thank you. Next song is my special song. 104, If Life Were Gracious Enough. 104, If Life Were Gracious Enough.
If life were gracious enough to grant my way, I would reach to the ends of the earth to give love in every day, and each would find his home with peace and friendship there, where joyous songs abound and happiness to share. If life were gracious enough to grant my dream, I would see your face in the stars and hear your song in every stream. The comfort of your smile in the warm caress of spring, in the dance of life all the while. I feel your love in everything. We will make life gracious enough to fulfill our dreams. We will lift off the weight of the world, and our love will blossom supreme. We will free each heart from the pain and anguish of the past through the preciousness of our love. True joy will reign at last. If life were gracious enough to grant my way, I would reach to the ends of give love in every day, and each would find his home with peace and friendship there, where joyous songs abound and happiness to share.
Thank you. Let us stand out to Heavenly Parents. Today is June 12, 2016, Sunday morning. Let us prove out God and true parents. 경배. So, join me prayer. Most lovely every parent and true parents. We are so grateful to receiving your love and guidance. You are precious. You are amazing God. We want to love you. We want to praise you, Heavenly Parents. We are grateful. We are the one that your children, Heavenly Parents. You created us value like a creator like you, Heavenly Parents. Yet we have responsibility to grow in you, Heavenly Parents. You created the world beauty, Heavenly Parents. You can see the through mountain, ocean, and the field, and wind, and cloud, everything. Your beauty inside of them, Heavenly Parents. And we can feel the great joy. We want to rejoice with you. We learn from your creation. We want to make our world also beautiful and spread hope around of us. Today, we encourage ourselves to invest ourselves to you and to the other. We want to love, give love to the other and be joyful to the other and help each other to grow up like you. Please bless this time. We are opening our heart and mind, receive your word. Through the word, we can create our spirit to be beautiful. Please bless this time that our pastor can give us sight of you and your heart. Please bless this time. 축복 춘신가정 라망 타미코몬타나로 이름으로 포고드립니다. I report in the name of Raman Tamiko Montanaro, Central Blessed Family, Aju.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Please sit it and welcome our pastor. Come on, come here. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Okay, we're missing Alyssa in Alaska and Sunbee's in California now. Sungwoo's in New Jersey. We're sending our members all over the place. So we're a small congregation this morning. Today, I want to speak to you about the role of a true man and the role of a true woman. Okay? So let's put that up on the board. I don't like this color. Go with this one. Okay. I have a lot to say today. Last night I had a chance to speak to my sons about their relationship with their mother, and it made me think about a lot of things. I've been talking with my friend John a lot about this too. And of course I have 3 daughters and 4 sons, and I think about this all the time. How do you raise boys and girls? Also, I'm a school teacher, and I have classes of 23, 24 students. half of which are boys, half of which are girls, and I see how they learn differently, how they act differently in class. And my job as a teacher is not just to impart information, right? I'm a language teacher. I teach Italian and Spanish. Of course, my job is to follow the curriculum and make sure they get through the curriculum. The curriculum means the plan for the learning that they're supposed to do in a given year. So my job is to follow the plan. But also my job is to help raise these people as young men and women. Especially as a teacher, I always feel that responsibility to raise people, to raise my students as young men and young women. Because I think everything comes down to family. We know from the divine principle, and I'll make a little picture on the board. Okay, so here's God. God is the harmonized being of internal and external. And external. Okay? He's the harmonized being of positive and negative. Which means that everything in the universe has an internal character and an external form. Like a mind and a body, or instinctive nature, and a physical form made out of cells and organs like animals and plants have. Even atoms and molecules follow the inherent directive nature that God gave them so that they can be an atom. Like an atom is a very complex being. Especially a bigger atom like a uranium atom or a lead atom or any kind of heavy atom. They have hundreds, well not hundreds, they have dozens and dozens of protons and electrons and neutrons all organized very beautifully. The nucleus has the protons and the neutrons, and circling them are electrons in different energy shells. This is very, very complex organization. Anyone who looks at that and doesn't believe in God is not being scientific. If you're scientific, you want to know why something works. We know that the Big Bang was an explosion of energy and matter in the universe. The energy and matter are interchangeable. Einstein talked about the formula E equals mc squared. Energy is equal to mass, the weight, times the speed of light squared. So energy can be released actually when matter is turned into energy. Huge amounts of energy can be released. This is the theory behind the atomic bombs. Actually, it's different than that, but anyway, matter and energy can be released. When we look at that level of organization, we cannot say that an explosion of energy in the universe, which is the beginning point, the Big Bang, could lead even to one atom. One atom is showing more organization and structure and intelligence than you can get out of just an explosion, especially given the second law of thermodynamics. In physics, the second law of thermodynamics is called entropy. Everyone say the word entropy. Entropy means that energy likes to be dispersed into the widest possible way. If I light a match and I let it burn down, ouch, then the heat from that match is going to be here in the beginning, right? The air around the match will be hot. Do you think that that heat is going to stay there? The rest of the room is cold, but this one area is hot? What's going to happen to that heat? It's going to expand, have give and take with the cold air molecules, heating them up, cooling these ones down, until finally the energy is spread out as wide as possible. That's entropy. Entropy means that energy tends toward being spread out as wide as possible. So given the law of entropy, how is it possible for all this energy to be focused into one atom? If I release that energy, I could blow up this room. From one atom, I probably could do enormous damage. One atom has that much energy in it. You know, when you break apart even just this much, if I break up this much matter, this whole house would be destroyed. If I turn this into energy, this entire house would be turned into water vapor, just vapor. It would be vaporized. That's how much energy is condensed into this little object here. So, who is organizing and controlling and condensing that energy? It violates the second law of thermodynamics. It violates this idea that energy wants to spread out. This violates that. I violate it. Everything in the universe violates the law of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics. Because there is a force acting, guiding, pulling things together. That's God. So if you're really a scientific person, then you have to recognize the existence of God. What is God? God is the harmonized being of the dual characteristics of internal and external, mind and body, internal nature and the external form, even atoms have it, and positive and negative, masculine and feminine. Everything exhibits that. Man and woman, male and female and animals. Plants have stamen and pistil. Some trees are masculine trees and some trees are feminine trees. Anyone who grows fruit trees knows that. There's some trees that are masculine, some trees are feminine. And actually you need both trees in order to have fruit, because they need to cross-pollinate. So there's sexuality even among the plants. There are single-celled animals that reproduce asexually, but they probably have internally, within them, masculine and feminine elements. Anyway, they have these elements giving and taking within themselves. We know that we have 46 chromosomes in every cell of our body, 23 from our mother, 23 from our father. When the sperm and the egg come together, these 23 chromosomes from the father and the 23 chromosomes from the mother meet and join and make pairs, 23 pairs, and that it has all the coding for our body. So masculine and feminine together create energy, allow energy to be channeled into the universe from action, for multiplication, and for existence. This is the nature of God. God then creates. And in the case of a man and a woman, God creates a man and a woman. And they have give and take action. And they become united. And they become a child. Now maybe I drew this in purple for a reason actually. So let's erase these guys. And let's make the man blue. And the woman is going to be red. Okay? So God divides his nature into two parts. But they have a clear intention of coming back together again. And becoming one. So you're a divided being. When I was a young man and I was waiting to start our family with Oma, and I was very lonely, I missed her, I finally came to the realization that I was like one leg. It was like a person with one leg. And you can get around, you can hop around, you know. I can probably live my life with one leg. Many people are crippled by the war or something. They have lost a leg and they can survive, they can do well. But certainly if you offered them another leg, they would take it. Right? Because this is not normal to have to walk around on one leg. When a man and a woman are together, they finally have two legs. It's like two sides coming together and becoming a whole person. Oma and I together are a whole person. Together, Oma and I become an object to God. This is called a four-position foundation. And it is the base of goodness that everything in the universe is built on. Everything in the universe is built on this four-position foundation. God used it as the blueprint for everything he created. Okay. So now our discussion is about the role of a true man, the role of a true woman. I was talking to my sons yesterday about how they relate to their mother and about how they relate to women in general. Because women and men are different. Oh, shocking. Maybe I'll get arrested for that, right? For saying that men and women are different. Fundamentally, from our psyche, to the way we think, to our emotions, the way we feel, the way we act, and our physical bodies, everything about men and women is different. We both have a mind and a body, but even our mind and body are different. Our bodies are different, and our minds are different. And if you want to blame anyone for that, don't blame me. You can blame God. Men and women are different. I'm sorry to break the news to all of you who want to believe that men and women are the same and can do exactly the same things and everything's the same and we should have equal rights, and that's fine. It's fine to have equal rights. But we're different. Fundamentally, men and women are different. And we've spent the last 60 to 80 years in the United States trying to erase that difference. Trying to teach women that they can do anything that a man can do, like the old song in the musical, I can do anything you can do better. Anything you can do, I can do too. And it's a man and woman singing to each other. They love each other. And they sing, no you can't, yes I can, no you can. I don't know what musical it's from, but it's from an old musical. My mother used to sing it, probably the 1940s. You know? But the battle of the sexes has been going on. Now we have to understand that because of the fall, then we became fallen people. We're not true men and true women anymore. Men inherited a very selfish nature from the archangel to use love for their own benefit. So men give love to women many times just to trick them, to get to sleep with them, to have sex. And women use their emotions sometimes to suck a man into a relationship. They're crying, I need your love, and they pull them in. So men and women are using each other in the fallen world. Right? Men and women are using each other. It's not a good relationship. And then after being used for a while, one person or both people get sick of it and they divorce. So we have a divorce rate about 50 to 60% or higher. And the problem is this. Many people now are not even getting married because they've given up on marriage. They see so much breakdown in marriage that they've given up on marriage and now they're not marrying anymore, they're just living together. But statistics are clear on this point. People who live together have an even higher rate of breaking up than people who get married. I'm not promoting marriage between two people who hate each other or who should not be married. I'm just saying that living together without marriage is not a solution. It's not going to solve the problem. So we have a world where men and women are both fallen. Men are stronger physically than women. And men have, and we'll talk about this in a second, what the nature, the fundamental nature of a man is and the fundamental nature of a woman is. We'll try to explore that a little bit today. But men have, throughout history, put women into an inferior position, dominating them. Women have, throughout history, been put in a position to be like a servant almost. In the early Christian church, the Greek society, women and slaves basically had the same status. The first Christians in the Greek culture, when Paul went and witnessed into Greece, were women and slaves because they had no power in society. They were powerless. So they really responded to the message of Christ, that all of us are equal in Christ. So the first Christians were women and slaves because in Greek society, women were as low as slaves. Men were the only people that could vote, even in Greek society. So many people say that this patriarchal idea, this patriarch means pater. Pater means father in Latin. Mater means mother, right? Pater, mater, in German, pater, mater, and padre, madre, in Italian and Spanish. And so padre means father, right? Madre, mother. So when we look at the word patriarch, arch means the head. Patriarchal means led by man, man-centered. Man is the head. A matriarchal society is the woman is the head. So So you have patriarchal societies in history, mostly patriarchal. But also we see matriarchal societies where the women are the head. Okay. Many people accuse Christians of this kind of society, that Christianity created this kind of patriarchal society. Or the Jewish people did. Because God is a man, and God is a male figure. And so all the men, Moses and Abraham, all the leaders are men. All the kings, all the prophets were men. The women had very little role, according to some people. So they blame the Jewish and Christian culture. But the fact is, the Greek and Roman culture was even worse. The Greek and Roman culture, men and women were very different. Women were slaves, basically. They were in the same position as slaves. They had no power in society. And then we look at the Asian society. Do you think it's any better there? You think that Buddhism and Confucianism liberated women? The fact is that the 5 pillars of Confucius, right? The 5 pillars, the 5 fundamental ideas of Confucianism. One of them is that this idea of that there's the king and the subjects. They're in a vertical relationship of subject and object, meaning the king is above the subjects, right? He's supposed to be benevolent and loving, and the subject should be loyal and obedient, right? That's one of the pillars, right? The king and the subject. Then you have the teacher and the student. The teacher should be loving and benevolent and teaching the student. The student should be loyal and obedient and receiving and the teacher's wisdom. And then you have another pillar. You have older brother and younger brother. The older brother should take care of and guide the younger brother. The younger brother should be obedient and respectful to the older brother. And then you have man and woman. Man is above woman. This is in Confucianism. Man should be benevolent and loving and kind to his wife. His wife should be obedient and faithful and a woman of filial piety, pious toward her husband, loving and gentle. But it's a vertical relationship. Women are below men. This kind of relationship of equal, horizontal, has never been seen in religious history. This is revolutionary. So we cannot blame Christianity and the religions of the book, religions of God's word, like God as a center. That's why many feminists want to blame Christianity and Judaism for the reason that men are the center. The fact is that a woman led to the fall. This may be very unpleasant for some people who are listening to this, because they don't believe in the Bible anymore, they don't even believe in God. So for them, this is all just mythology, it's all a false teaching, it was written by men, for men, about men, so of course they blame women, right? Because men wrote the Bible, that's what the feminists will say, right? If you're a feminist, then you know what I'm talking about, right? That men have been blaming women for all the problems of history. And that's why they put women down. But the fact is that men and women by nature are different. And the temptation of the archangel hit women first. Because women's nature is different from a man's nature. Women are different from men. Let's read now some things together. Now at home, if you want to, I'm going to put the link in it for God's Will and the World. And it's also on the website. We'll read some passages and I'll tell you the page numbers, okay, for the passages. This speech called The Ideal Spouse, which is one of the first speeches in the book, is lovely. The whole speech should be read. But when you become husband and wife, a wife must regard her husband as an embodiment of God. In this case, the wife should stand in the position of her husband's daughter. The husband should then raise her up, thus restoring the daughter's position, which God lost. Through the fall, God lost three things. Therefore, the husband must restore one of them, namely the position of God's daughter. From the wife's point of view, her husband is like her father. She must believe in him more than she does her own father. Through him, she should find much greater value than she has ever experienced in her life. By the way, I'm on page 23. I'm sorry, I'm on page 23. She cannot restore the ideal, reciprocal standard that Satan destroyed unless she restores such a standard of heart. Secondly, a husband facing his wife must feel as if he were his wife's son. He should have a bubbling heart toward his wife, as if he were a child facing his own mother. And from the wife's side, she should find within herself a mother's heart toward her husband, loving him completely as if he were her own child. Thirdly, you cannot set conditions for restoration unless you become totally one as husband and wife, having such a heart that you absolutely need each other day and night, and you cannot bear to spend even a day without your spouse. The fall began with a woman. How old was she? 16. Now this is father speaking. He's probably using Korean age, which starts you at 1 year old the minute you're born. You're in your first year of life. So Eve was in her 16th year of life, which means she was probably 14 or 15. She was underage. A woman forfeited the standard of parents whom God should trust. Strictly speaking, therefore, following the principle of restoration, a person who is supposed to become a true mother should not be older than 20. This is the principle. Because of this reason, I welcomed my wife as a young person and loved her as if she were my daughter. From my side, my holy wedding had to be held before I passed the age of 40. Then what period was the first 7 years? It was the period when I raised mother. Now this passage has implications for the direction that the Family Federation is going right now, and maybe should be looked at more closely by people who are following in that way. It was the period when I raised mother. I was supposed to educate mother about heavenly family tradition and law. I did not do this in a careless way, but prayed about it so much every night before sleeping. Mother did not know it. In this way, I restored three things substantially. The daughter, who was lost as a result of the fall, her reciprocal standards, and the standard of true parents in front of God. This is the path that everyone should go as a fallen person. Okay? That's one section. Another section is speaking about the principal role of the Messiah coming as a man. Why did the Messiah have to come as a man? Why couldn't the Messiah come as a woman? Why couldn't Jesus be a woman? Why couldn't Father be a woman? Why couldn't a woman be the Messiah? Ask yourself that question. Why did Jesus have to come as a man? Why did Father have to come as a man? The Messiah, this is on page 641, in the speech, Parents, Children, and the World, Centered Upon Oneself. Page 641. The Messiah came as a man. According to the Bible, Eve was made out of Adam's rib, meaning after the pattern of Adam. In the same manner, the Messiah was to have selected one woman from the fallen women of the world and recreate her as the original Eve. Until such a day, no woman could be truly eligible to be married. That is why the Bible implies that all women are being prepared for the position of a bride. That means mother was raised from among the fallen women of the world and recreated by Father as a true woman. It's as if Adam, who did not fall, took this woman Eve, who just fell with the archangel spiritually, and cleansed her heart of the guilt and fear and shame that all people feel, but especially women feel about sex, about love. All women feel guilt and shame about sexuality because of the fall. Father had to clean that up. Okay? So I just wanted to say those things because right now, in the Unification Church and in the Family Federation, we're having a struggle between, because Father has passed away, and the Father's mother is holding on to the position of leadership. And she's creating a theology about the only begotten daughter. The idea that a woman can inherit fully and be fully in the Messiah's position. And Hyungjin, the youngest son, is speaking about the fact that lineage passes through to the son, not to the wife, but to the son. This is a very serious issue now in our church. And it's great that we can discuss it. For those people who don't know about this, it's fine. You'll find out as you want to as you go along. But I thought it would be important to share those things. Finally, before we talk about man and woman's nature, one last thing that we want to read from Father. This is from the address at the 8th anniversary of the 777 couple blessing. It's on page 483 in God's Will in the World, 483. Those of you who came with your spouses, raise your hands. Let me look at you. So Father's looking at the couples. You wives, Father says, are the ones who initiate the quarrels and give your husbands a hard time, right?
Yes.
Tell me frankly. Your faces reveal the answer. Because your husbands are calm and quiet, you do not feel good unless you fight at least once a week. You should cherish your husbands and love them as you love God. Take good care of them. They hold fast to God's will, so you should not fight with them. God's will is for you to build the kingdom of heaven first in your home. What is the kingdom of heaven? It is the kind of place where a passing beggar feels welcome to take a rest, where birds like to make their nests, where village people like to visit. Such a place is the heavenly home, or the kingdom of heaven on the family level. This is what we're trying to build here. God will be attracted to such a home and want to make it his dwelling. You should be able to make your home like this. So, I'm not picking on women today. That's not my purpose. Actually, it's the opposite. I want to tell the men what our responsibility as men is. We have been so beaten up by what we call the women's liberation movement that we men feel like to be a man is a dirty thing. A man is a dirty word. That having a sexual desire, strong sexual desire, is incorrect and wrong and fallen and evil. That to look at a woman and see her beauty and to appreciate a woman's beauty is pathetic and perverted and sick. That to be a man and to have strong opinions and state them strongly is aggressive and competitive and wrong. And that being a man in this society has been put down so much that many men are trying to check out of being men and become women. Many men are acting in very feminine ways now. I'm teaching. I've never seen in my life a generation of men who are more feminine than this generation. All the men are very shy and meek and talking, and there's never any fights because the guys are all sort of soft. They're all feminine. When I was growing up in Maine, it was terrifying. The guys were so masculine, and especially they would fight over girls. There were fights every day. The administration had to constantly break up fights between guys. They were fighting over girls. And my daughter Aki was smiling here. Why are you smiling, Akiko? Wouldn't it be nice if you're a girl to be fought over by two guys? It's actually very complimentary. If all the guys are fighting over, oh stop fighting, boys, no, don't fight over little old me, right? This is. I mean, it's the greatest. It's the greatest. If 10 guys are fighting over you, that's a sign that you're very beautiful and that you're wanted. Oh man, stop! There's enough for me to go around. Not really, right? So the guys would fight over girls. You believe that? You looked at my girlfriend, didn't you? You looked at her. No, you shut up. Boom, and they're fighting, and there are fights all the time between guys. Guys were much more competitive and aggressive and strong and masculine in the 70s. If you look at old movies, if you look at 1950s movies, Jimmy Cagney, you know, Humphrey Bogart, you know, he's looking at you, kid, you know, and he's like really masculine, you know, doesn't express any emotion, he's really tough. John Wayne, you know, I'm not gonna hit you. Like hell I'm not. You know, in every movie John Wayne punched somebody. At least once, probably 20 times in a movie, he was punching somebody.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you watch movies and nobody gets punched except in the Avengers when everybody's punching everybody and the girls are punching and everyone's punching each other, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at a romantic comedy, you don't find, even if two guys are fighting over one woman, they never fight. It's very rare. Once in a while you'll see a punch, you know. In Julia Roberts' movie, what is it? Runaway Bride. Runaway Bride. What's his name? The guy, gray hair. He was in Pretty Woman also. Richard Gere. Richard Gere falls in love with Julia Roberts, and then because he falls in love with her and she falls in love with him, she breaks off the 4th engagement she has to this big, strong sports coach guy. And when he finds out, he does punch Richard Gere once. He goes, and then he walks away. Be happy, have a nice life, and he walks away. But he punches it. That's like the only punch I can remember in a movie between two guys.
They'll fight.
They don't fight anymore. But in the 1940s, in 1940s, 1950s, you watch any movie from that era, the men are fighting. They're much more aggressive, much more masculine. Now we've been trained by this modern age. It's politically incorrect to be a man, to be masculine. Masculinity is no longer accepted. You have to be in the center here. And when femininity is no longer accepted, you have to be in the center. So you have a trend that women are becoming more masculine and lesbian relationships are more common. And you have men becoming more feminine and more homosexual relationships are common and accepted. So men are becoming more homosexual, women are becoming more lesbian, and you're finding that everyone's kind of in the middle now in society. Now there are good things about that we understand each other better and men and women relate to each other more easily. But there's no more spark between men and women because the distance that the spark has to travel is what determines its power. So when a man is over here and a woman's over here, and this guy's building up desire for the woman, and the woman's building up desire for the man, it's like a static charge. This is a positive and negative static charge. All the protons are building up on this side, all the electrons are building up on this side. We call it testosterone and estrogen. But anyway, you have these incredible charge building up, and finally when they love each other, when they express love, it's like an explosion. And the spark jumps, and it's a big energy, right? But nowadays it's like they're very close to each other. You have these very feminine guys who talk like this, and very soft, and I'm really artistic, and this is how I feel about life, and I'm very feminine, and I really understand how you feel. And the woman's like really strong, and like, yeah, shut up, I'm not interested, you know, and really tough, and girls are using the F word all the time, right? When I was growing up, a woman never cursed. Not like they do today, not like women do today. Women wouldn't curse. In my high school, I'm hearing like guys and girls both using the F-bomb down the halls, like you know, like this all the time. Our society has changed. So these women are tough. They'll punch a guy if he does anything, and the guy's like, "Oh, don't hit me," you know. Yeah. And they do. They're like fighting even in class, like fun, friendly fights, you know, between guys and girls. The girls like punching the guy on the shoulder really hard, and you know, it's just they're tough. And the women are tougher. So the love, I don't see the kind of energy. You know, it's funny. I teach in a really good high school. I like my high school very much. And in my high school, when I was growing up, guys and girls by junior year or senior year, by sophomore year, you saw pairing up. Guys and girls were, you know, boyfriend and girlfriend, right? They were like going steady, right? And they would be holding hands in the hallways, and you know, they'd be together. They were like a couple. You know, by sophomore year, they were a couple. And you saw hundreds of these couples in the school. You know, just everywhere. Everyone was a couple. You know, and they were going steady. You know, and like in Pleasantville, you know, he pinned. You know, he gave me his pin. He pinned me. That means he gave me his school pin. I'm like, I belong to him. And we would give each other our class ring. We'd have a class ring, you know, like class of 1977. So hi guys. So we'd have our class of 1977 ring, and we'd say, you want to go steady? We were like shy. We'd talk to a girl. Do you want to go steady with me? And you could wear my class ring. And the girl would wear the class ring, but it was too big for her. So she'd wrap it with thread, like, or yarn around the bottom, so make it thicker, so it would fit on her finger, you know, and she'd be wearing his ring. I belong to him. I'm his girl. You know? In Greece, you can see it too. In Greece, is 1950s, you know. You know, you have the Debs, which are the girls and the gang guys, you know, and then the Debs belong to the guys in the gang, and, you know, it's just like this kind of culture of guys and girls were pairing up. But now I don't see it. In fact, in my high school, out of 600 kids in the high school, I think there's one couple that is really like that, steady. There are people that are going out, dating and stuff like that, but there's only one couple I see, and I'm sure there's more that I don't see regularly because I'm not passing by their lockers or whatever, but there's one couple that I see. Maybe I could say more, 3 or 4, but out of 600? Now, I'm not saying it's bad. I think we should learn the principle and follow abstinence until we're married. I like the fact that people are waiting to finally get married, but I don't like the fact that we've lost our masculinity and our femininity. So, finally, what I really want to talk about today is the role of a true man, the role of a true woman. What's the difference between a man and a woman in the original ideal? When a woman really becomes what she wants to be, when a man really becomes what he wants to be, what do they become? We can't look at our society today because, as you can see, it's falling apart and everything's getting changed. Some people will say that's a good change, that's for the better. But I think we can agree that it has broken down marriage and family. No longer do we find marriage and family so strong anymore. This is God's original ideal. This being a true man. This is a true man. This is a true woman. And of course, this can represent their unity or the children. You know, children are formed by the man and woman coming together in love. So this is children. So this is the 4-position foundation. This is a true family. Okay? Now, a woman's nature is built by God to be an object position, to want to receive the love of their husband. So a woman's nature, could you stand up? Put your book down. So you can see a man and a woman together. Hello. Sarah. So a woman's nature is more emotionally sensitive than a man's nature. But a man is actually able to give the force of love even more powerfully than a woman. Which means this. A woman is longing for the heat of a man's love. Men are like the sun, women are like the moon. That's why we use the analogy of sun and moon for man and woman, for father and mother. If you look at the Old Testament in Genesis, Jacob's son, Joseph, has a dream. He has many dreams, right? His brothers hate him because he has so many dreams, right? But one dream he has, he says, I dreamed that the sun and the moon and 11 stars came and bowed down before me. And he told his father, Jacob, and his brothers, his 11 brothers, and his father scolded him and said, what? Do you mean that me and your mother and your 11 brothers will bow down before you? So actually this came to pass when Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers in Egypt. He rose to become the prime minister of Egypt. And his appearance was so different that when his brothers came to beg for food, because they were starving, and he brought his father and his mother, all of his family bowed down before him. So it came to pass. His dream came true. But the point is that the Bible uses the image of the sun as the father. The mother is the moon, reflecting the light of the sun, and the children are the stars, little points of light, right? They're like babies. Okay. So, a man is created by God to be in the subject position. That means I am responsible for initiating the love relationship with my wife. The woman receives that love and returns beauty, which stimulates me even more to give love, which makes her happy. She becomes even more beautiful. Look how beautiful she is. When I love her, look how beautiful she becomes. See that? It's like the sun hitting a flower and the flower opens up. Oh, look how beautiful she is. But I love her. I love you. Look how beautiful. When a woman laughs and smiles because of love, she becomes even more beautiful, right? Now, if she's not receiving any love, and she becomes tired and angry, go ahead, become tired and angry. Not so easy right now. She's pretending. But when a woman becomes tired and angry, you know, she becomes really a monster, scary, right? Right? Aki go, yes? Yeah. So women, I love this line in, who's seen the movie Look Who's Talking? Have you ever seen the movie Look Who's Talking? John Travolta, Kirstie Alley. John Travolta and Kirstie Alley just had a fight and they broke up. And John Travolta is going in to say goodbye to Mikey, the little boy. And she doesn't realize that the baby monitor is on and his voice is going to the kitchen. And Kirstie Alley just came home and she's listening to what he's saying. And John Travolta is saying, he's speaking to Mikey, just 2 years old. He says, Mikey, you know, I don't know what she wants. You know, I mean, I just remember what my dad told me. He said, you know, he said the job of a father is to keep the mother happy so she doesn't kill all the children, doesn't drive the children crazy, you know. That the husband's job is to love his wife enough that she doesn't drive the children crazy. And I think it's really cute because if a man doesn't love his wife, she becomes really tired and angry. If you look at divorced women, women who have to raise a family by themselves, they're always tired and angry because they can't receive love from the man. So they're tired and angry, and they will punish their children, actually, with their anger and their tiredness. When a man is home, he's loving her and making her more and more beautiful and more happy so that she can love the children more and help raise them. As the children get older, they more and more will separate from their mother and come closer to their father. So the father, our role as dads is to provide a certain line. True Father said, men are like the bones, women are like the flesh, the muscles and flesh. Do bones bend? No. We're being criticized by modern American society because we don't bend. We're inflexible. Men are inflexible. You know, intolerant, inflexible. Women are softer, more flexible, more understanding. It's true. But that doesn't mean it's bad. What would a body be like if the bones all turned into rubber? Hi, my name is, well, nice to meet you, you know. Like an octopus. I look like an octopus. We need bones. The men are the bones of the family. That's our original nature. A true man's role is like the bone of the family. A true woman's nature is like the flesh of the family. So, can the bones move without the flesh? Can a skeleton move without the muscles and the tendons and the flesh? No. Right? So, women move men. I love it. Women move men. Their beauty, their sensitivity, their femininity excites and stimulates and inspires us, and we give love to them because they have something we don't have. There's something we aren't. And we need it. And we love women. And our love heats them up, warms them up. It's interesting that the bones, what's in the center of the bones? Do you know? What is it? Bone marrow. And what gets made in the bone marrow? The blood. So the bone, the center of the bone is hot. That's where the blood comes from, the life. So the center of man is hot. That's where life comes from. The energy, the seed. Yes, the seed. Like it goes turning pink. Yes, the seed. We have the seed. Women have the egg. Which runs toward each other? Does the egg swim toward the seed, or does the seed swim toward the egg? Thousands and thousands of little man seeds swimming upstream like salmon to reach the egg. The egg is just sitting there. Waiting. Waiting. This is an image of man and woman. You think that God created that and didn't create this to be connected? God is beautiful. God is a brilliant architect, a brilliant designer, a brilliant artist. Everything is images of each other, higher and lower levels. A man is like a sperm cell, a woman is like an egg. Men are like, you know, we're loving the woman. And the woman is getting stimulated and coming to life because of the man. And then together we create children. So, what's the role of a true man? To provide a strong, clear, loving center for the family. To give love to his wife and to his children. But especially to his wife. Because through his wife, the wife can love the children, create a beautiful environment. Colorful and beautiful. Men don't know how to decorate a home. In fact, that's why most interior decorators who are men are what? They're homosexual. If you look, I love films, as you know. If you look at the special features, and they have interviews with different cast members and crew members, many times, if the set designer or the costume designer is a man, he's gay. He's homosexual. Because he's much more feminine, and he can appreciate the beauty and the softness and that kind of thing. So, women can create a beautiful environment. Men, we're hopeless at that, really. Especially very masculine. If you're very masculine, you know, you're like, I'm alright with just a room. I don't need to paint it. I don't even need a couch. Just give me a chair and a table I can eat my dinner on. You know, we're a man. You know, we don't need no soft, comfortable things because we are man. Actually, the reason I put that Texas accent on, that southern accent, is because Texas is still one place where you see that kind of masculine men and feminine women. Women are like, well, my name is, you know, Bertha May, and I'm a very feminine woman, and I, you know, this is my nature. And the men are like, yeah, I'm a Texas, I got my truck. You know, that's much more masculine, more traditional. Whereas you come to the East Coast, New York City especially, and you find men are kind of feminine. And women are very tough and masculine. They call it sophisticated. But I think it's unfortunate. Okay, so back to our relationship. Hi. Love you. So, when a man loves a woman, she comes to life. So a woman's nature is actually very soft. Very soft. She needs this man, otherwise she goes everywhere. So our job as men is to protect and love our wives. To create a strong center point. And then the wife can be free to be a woman, to be fully feminine, to be fully expressing emotion and love and beauty. This is our role. Women actually talk more than men do. This is statistical. This is not just my opinion. Study after study after study has shown this. Little boys and girls, I've talked about this study already with you guys, and you've heard it 100 times, but maybe it's good to hear it again. They did studies of little children, right from birth until like 4 years old, and they cataloged the sounds they made. And little boys, little girls, about 90% of whatever came out of their mouth was an attempt at speech. They're trying to talk. And when they're 2 years old, they're like, blah, 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 they can't shut up. They're just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. 90, even when they're playing with like boats or cars, the cars are talking to each other. Now, would you get me going? I need to pass here. I got to park here. Okay, you can. The cars are talking to each other. Boys, 70% of the sounds they make are just noise, without any sort of speech involved. Like. Once in a while they say something, get out of my way! This is not because they were socialized. I'm sorry! Men and women are different! From birth! Our natures are different and it's wonderful. Stop fighting it. Why do you want to fight God? Why do you want to fight the universe? Are you crazy? What kind of crazy person fights the universe? Universal law. Heavenly law. Why would you want to fight against heavenly law? Men and women are different. We're born different. We're intended to be different. If you fight that, you can succeed. Because like last week we talked about free will. You have the free will to change yourself. You can become feminine. You can say, I want to gender identify as a woman. And a woman can say, I want to gender identify as a man. You're free to do that. But why would you want to? Why would you want to? Why would you want to defy universal law? Heavenly law. The law of the universe. God's law. Why? Just so you can be different, so you can be proud? There's no happiness there. Happiness comes from love. Love and beauty. The give and take of love and beauty between man and woman. That creates beauty. That creates love. That creates family. That creates life. God is dwelling in that. This is where God is dwelling, inside the family. This is the fundamental message that we have to pass out now from the unification movement. This is it. So don't be ashamed, guys, of your masculinity, of your power, of your strength, of your aggressiveness. Be loving. Develop your heart. And when you're relating with women, you must relate not the same way you relate to boys. Women are built differently. Emotional. Connecting in heart to everything. Feelings. Don't argue with women. This is the point I made with my sons last night. Don't argue with women. Like trying to make everything logical. You have to have a reason for what you're feeling. When men do that to women. Why? Why do you feel this way? Explain it to me. It's stupid.
Just a few.
If you're feeling something, it has validity. It has validity. It is valid. It is valid if it is being felt. It has validity. Honor it. Welcome it. Understand it. Learn from it. Embrace it. Love it. The woman is the center of emotion, of feeling. Man is the center of love and principle and guidance. You need both to make a family. You need both to raise children. This is the world we have to live in. So, as we go forward, we'll find that many things have to be fixed. Thank you, sweetheart. We find that many things have to be fixed in our world, in myself, because I inherit so much garbage from the fallen world. But we're heading in that direction. It may take 2 or 3 generations. It may not happen for 100 years. I'm patient. I can wait. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to keep working toward that. But that's the fact. It may take some time. Because it takes time to change. But you guys have to be willing to change before you can change. Just because something takes time doesn't mean that it's going to happen automatically. You have to be willing for it to happen. You have to want it to happen. And then it will happen. But if you don't want it to happen, it won't happen, ever. How many nations have risen and fallen in history? Look at Rome and Greece. The Assyrian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire fell. And at the end of their empires, invariably we saw homosexuality. Invariably, at the end of every civilization that human history has ever known, when that civilization crumbled, the Roman senators were having sex with boys. The Greeks were justifying sex with boys. You can even see Socrates talking about it. In every society that fell, that crumbled, that was destroyed by history, homosexuality is right there at the end. And that's where we are today in America. So don't think that because God wants to get something done, that it will automatically get done. We have responsibility. And if we don't fulfill our responsibility as Americans, and if we don't fulfill our responsibility as citizens of this world, to become true sons and daughters of God, true men and women, and make true families, it's not going to happen. It's our responsibility. So please, realize that we have responsibility. God is not going to control us and make us do what we should do. But we have to understand what God wants us to do and do it out of a good heart, out of a true heart. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, you are the author of our lives. You created everything. You're a parent. You have within you our Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother. You have a Heavenly Parent's nature. And man and woman is the representation of your love and your nature. We pray that we can celebrate our masculinity or our femininity. Celebrate our love. Celebrate family. Celebrate the beauty that you created between man and woman. That we can spread this message to the whole world, that men can be more masculine, women more feminine, but also loyal and faithful to each other. Not creating problems with the trinities, the triangles, love triangles. But understanding that until I'm a true man, I have no business looking at a woman. Until I'm a true woman, I have no business looking at a man. And that when I finally perfect my nature and become a true man or true woman, then I can establish a true family, a true couple, and true love between man and woman. There's no room for fallen nature or sin in that world. I ask your blessing on everyone who's listening today, that they can receive these words, study more deeply Father's teaching, the divine principle, and the Bible, and come to a deeper understanding of your will and your heart. 감사합니다, 아버님. 오늘 드리고 싶습니다. 이 모든 말씀, 축복 중심 가정, 라만과 타미고 몬타나를 이름으로 보고드립니다. For all these things, thank you, Father. In the name of Raman and Tamiko Montanaro, a blessed central family. Aju. Amen. Thank you, everybody.